Your comfort zone isn't protecting you. It's a cage. A gilded one, perhaps, with soft cushions and predictable days, but a cage nonetheless. And it is quietly, systematically, destroying your potential. There's a startling statistic that says nearly 85% of people live their entire lives within this cage, never daring to test the bars. The question I have for you is simple. Will you be the exception? In the next few minutes, I will reveal the 6 primary comfort traps that are sabotaging your growth. More importantly, I will give you a blueprint, a set of daily discomfort challenges designed to help you forge what I call an iron mind. This isn't about fleeting motivation. This is about rebuilding your operating system from the ground up. I'm Cassian. I don't deal in platitudes or hype. I build architects of the self. Your comfort zone is a prison with invisible bars, and today, we begin the process of breaking them. Here's the blueprint. 6 traps, 6 challenges. Let's begin. Which will you destroy first? Are you living the same day on repeat? The same commute, the same lunch, the same tasks, the same television shows at night. We call this efficiency. We tell ourselves it's productive. But the truth is, it's mental atrophy. A life lived on autopilot is a life that is not truly lived. When your days become a predictable algorithm, your brain stops forging new neural pathways. It stops growing, adapting, and creating. You are no longer navigating life, you are simply commuting through it. The comfort of the predictable becomes a prison that locks out novelty, serendipity, and growth. Your brain, the most powerful tool you possess, begins to rust from disuse. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this danger intimately. They didn't just passively endure hardship when it arrived, they actively sought it out in controlled doses. The philosopher Seneca spoke of practicing voluntary discomfort. He would intentionally sleep on a hard floor, eat a meager meal for a few days, or walk in thin clothes on a cold day. Why? To train his mind. To remind himself that he was more durable than his desire for comfort suggested. He was testing the bars of his own cage. Our modern equivalent is not sleeping on the floor, but deliberately breaking the comfortable routines that lull our minds to sleep. I learned this lesson the hard way. Early in my career as a tech entrepreneur, I was the king of routine. I drove the exact same route to the office every morning. I ate the same turkey sandwich for lunch at my desk every day. I followed the same workflow from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. It felt disciplined. It felt safe. But my business was stagnating. My creativity had flatlined. I was in a rut so deep I couldn't see the edges. A mentor, an older and wiser man who saw the cage I had built for myself, gave me a simple challenge. For 1 month, change just one small thing about your routine every single day. It felt pointless at first. I took a different route to work. The new route was longer, more inconvenient. But one morning, stuck in traffic on a street I'd never been on, I saw a small, obscure bookstore. On a whim, I went inside during my lunch break. In the back, I found a dusty, out-of-print book on systems thinking. That book contained a single idea that would completely shatter and then rebuild my entire business model. A small, intentional crack in the wall of my routine let a universe of new information flood in. That is the power of breaking the script. So, here is your first challenge. The Daily Discomfort Challenge. For the next 7 days, deliberately change one part of your daily routine. The actions can be small, almost trivial. The point is the intention. Take a new route to work or the grocery store. Try a completely different type of breakfast. If you always listen to podcasts, listen to classical music. If you always lift weights, try a yoga class. Switch the hand you use to brush your teeth. The goal is to send a clear signal to your brain. We are no longer on autopilot. As you do this, ask yourself 2 questions. What part of your day is so automated you don't even think about it anymore? And what might you be missing by never looking up from that well-worn path? Let me ask you a direct question. Whose life are you actually living? Is it yours, designed by your own principles and ambitions? Or is it a performance, a carefully curated version of yourself designed to win the approval of your colleagues, your family, your friends, or strangers on the internet? The addiction to approval is perhaps the most insidious comfort trap, because it outsources the control of your life to others. You trim your ambitions to fit their expectations. You silence your unique ideas for fear of judgment. You avoid necessary risks not because you fear failure, but because you fear the look on their faces if you fail. This is the surest path to a life of quiet mediocrity and loud regret. You become a ghost in your own story. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wrestled with this constantly. In his private journal, later published as Meditations, he wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." He saw the absurdity of valuing the fleeting opinions of fickle people who would be dead and forgotten in a few years, over his own internal compass and reasoned judgment. He trained himself to see external approval as it is, a transient, unreliable, and ultimately irrelevant metric for a well-lived life. The iron mind is built on an internal scorecard, not an external one. I once mentored a brilliant young software engineer, let's call her Anna. She had a truly groundbreaking idea for a decentralized data platform that could revolutionize her industry. But she was paralyzed. For months, she did nothing. Why? Because every time she hinted at the idea, her senior colleagues would dismiss it as too risky. Her boss advised her to stick to the corporate ladder. Even her parents, who loved her, encouraged the safe path. Her need for their validation was a chain around her ambition. We worked for weeks on a single principle, making decisions based on her core values, not on external applause. The work was to find the courage to disappoint people. Eventually, she took the leap. She left her high-paying job to start the company. The first year was brutal. The very people whose approval she had craved were the first to say, "I told you so." But for the first time in her adult life, she felt truly alive, aligned with her own purpose. The quiet approval she finally gave herself was worth more than all the external validation she had been chasing. She broke the addiction. Now, it is your turn. The Daily Discomfort Challenge. For the next 7 days, make one small, growth-based decision that risks the disapproval of others. This doesn't have to be a monumental act of rebellion. It's about building the muscle of self-trust. Say no to a social commitment you don't truly want to attend, without giving a long, apologetic excuse. Share a bold, well-reasoned opinion in a meeting, even if it goes against the consensus. Begin working on a personal project or learning a new skill without telling anyone and seeking their input. Wear something that makes you feel confident, even if it's not what's currently in style. The act itself is less important than the reason behind it. To act from your own center. As you do this, reflect on these questions. If absolutely no one were watching or judging you, what one bold move would you make today? And what important opinion are you holding back, purely for the fear of what someone else might think? Are you waiting for a sign, for the perfect plan, for a guarantee from the universe that your efforts will be rewarded? Are you waiting for a green light that will never, ever come? This is the trap of the certainty obsession. It's the refusal to act until success is 100% assured. You spend your life in the planning phase, endlessly researching, analyzing, and strategizing, waiting for the perfect moment to launch your business, ask for that promotion, or have that difficult conversation. But here is the unforgiving truth of our world. Certainty is an illusion. It does not exist. This obsession with it isn't a prudent strategy, it is a sophisticated, intellectualized form of fear. By refusing to risk failure, you guarantee you will never achieve meaningful success. You have chosen the comfort of the starting line over the chaos and possibility of the race itself. The Stoics had a powerful concept for this, amor fati, a love of fate. This is not a passive resignation to whatever happens. It is an active, enthusiastic, and courageous acceptance of the outcome, whatever it may be. It is the understanding that you cannot control results. You can only control your efforts, your intentions, and your responses. To obsess over a guaranteed outcome is to declare war on reality itself. The iron mind doesn't wait for certainty. It acts based on its principles and then embraces whatever follows, success, failure, or something in between, as a necessary part of the path. It finds the lesson in the victory and the opportunity in the defeat. I lived through this during the dot-com bust in the early 2000s. My first tech company was on the verge of complete collapse. Every market prediction we had relied on, every certainty peddled by the experts, had proven to be catastrophically wrong. The comfortable thing to do would have been to wait. Wait for the market to stabilize. Wait for investors to feel confident again. Wait for a guarantee that would never arrive. Waiting would have been a slow death. Instead, my small team and I decided to embrace the chaos. We acted. We took the last of our capital and pivoted our entire product to serve a small, niche market that everyone else was ignoring precisely because it was so uncertain. We had no idea if it would work. We had zero guarantees. Most of our advisors told us we were insane, but taking bold, decisive action in the face of absolute uncertainty was the only thing that saved us. The crucial lesson wasn't in the eventual success of the pivot. It was in the transformation we underwent by acting without a safety net. We learned that the real prize is not found in the guaranteed win. It's in forging the character strong enough to act without one. It's time to stop waiting for a sign. It's time to act. The Daily Discomfort Challenge. Do one thing every day without knowing the exact outcome. Step into the unknown on purpose. Send that cold email to a potential mentor you admire. Pitch that crazy idea to your boss in a low-stakes conversation. Start the first lesson of that difficult new skill. Learning to code, play an instrument, or speak a new language, without any promise that you'll ever become a master. The point is not to succeed on day one. The point is to practice the art of starting without a guarantee. Ask yourself this as you move through your day. What great opportunity are you letting pass by while you wait for more information? And how much of your life is currently on pause, waiting for a permission slip that only you can write? You are running a unique race on a unique track, against a unique opponent, the person you were yesterday. So why do you keep looking over at everyone else's lane, obsessing over their time and checking their scorecard? Modern culture, supercharged by social media, has engineered a prison of constant comparison. You measure your messy, behind-the-scenes reality against the perfectly curated highlight reels of others. You weigh your career progress, your financial status, your relationships, even your happiness, against a distorted and artificial benchmark. This trap does more than just steal your joy, it breeds envy, kills motivation, and completely destroys your focus on the only path that has any meaning, your own. Operating from a place of comparison is like trying to navigate the wilderness of your life using someone else's map. You will inevitably become lost. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus provided the antidote to this poison over 2,000 years ago. He taught a radical and liberating idea, the dichotomy of control. He said that in this world, there are things that are within our control and things that are not. Your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, your character, your own daily progress, these are within your control. The success, wealth, accolades, and perceived happiness of others, they are entirely outside of your control. To waste a single moment of mental energy focusing on them is, in his words, the mark of an uninstructed person. The person with an iron mind is ruthlessly focused on their own ledger. They compete only with who they were yesterday. I vividly recall a period where a rival company in my industry secured a massive round of venture capital funding. The news was everywhere. In trade publications, on tech blogs, it felt like a punch to the gut. My team grew demoralized. And I, their leader, was consumed by a toxic cocktail of envy and self-doubt. In a panic, we started abandoning our own strategy to copy their features, to chase their market. We completely lost our way because we were playing their game. One night, working late and feeling utterly defeated, I had a moment of clarity. I realized I hadn't thought about our own customers, our own first principles, or our own unique mission for weeks. I had been obsessed with their map. The next morning, I called an all-hands meeting. I instituted a new rule. For the next quarter, there would be a moratorium on discussing competitor news. We were going on a comparison fast. We returned to basics. Who are we serving, and how can we serve them 1% better today than we did yesterday? That singular internal focus saved the company. It taught me that discipline isn't just about what you do, it's about what you choose to ignore. Now, it is your turn to look away from their map and focus on your own compass. The Daily Discomfort Challenge. For the next 7 days, actively track your own progress and deliberately ignore the progress of others. Here are some practical actions. Commit to a 24-hour social media fast. If that feels too extreme, simply unfollow or mute any accounts that consistently trigger feelings of comparison and inadequacy. More importantly, start a progress journal. At the end of each day, write down one single metric of your own improvement. Pages read, words written, minutes exercised, a new concept learned, a kind word offered. The metric must be entirely within your control. The goal is to retrain your brain to seek validation from your own effort, not from the perception of others' success. As you undertake this, ask yourself, whose success makes you feel insufficient? And what internal metric, entirely within your control, could you focus on instead to reclaim your power and your focus? Your great novel, your brilliant business idea, your masterpiece, it's sitting there, pristine and flawless, gathering dust in the attic of your mind. Why? Because you are afraid to put a single, imperfect brushstroke on the canvas. This is the trap of perfectionism. It masquerades as a commitment to high standards, a noble pursuit of excellence. But let's be clear about what it truly is. It is the deepest and most sophisticated expression of fear. It is the fear of being judged, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of trying and failing. So you wait. You wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, the perfect bolt of inspiration, the perfect skill set. And because perfect is a destination that does not exist, you never begin. You choose the sterile comfort of inaction over the messy, chaotic, and beautiful reality of progress. The Stoics were, above all, men of action. They were generals, senators, and emperors who understood that the world is imperfect and that action cannot wait for ideal conditions. Their focus was not on achieving a perfect outcome, which is often outside our control, but on applying a perfect effort in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius did not wait until he felt he was a perfect emperor to lead Rome through plague and war. He led, he acted, and then he retired to his tent at night to reflect on his imperfections in his journal. The action, however flawed, always came first. The growth is found in the doing, not in the planning to do. I once coached a senior executive, a woman who was a brilliant strategist but a bottleneck for her entire organization. Her personal motto was, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. She never delegated important tasks. Her team was brilliant, but they sat idle and demoralized, waiting for her to approve every minor detail. Her desk was a graveyard of half-finished projects, each one waiting for her perfect final touch. Her comfort zone was the feeling of absolute control, but it was strangling her company and burning her out. The challenge I gave her was excruciatingly uncomfortable. For 1 week, she had to ship something imperfect every single day. She had to delegate a meaningful task and be willing to accept an 80% result. She had to send an important internal memo after proofreading it only once. It was agonizing for her. It felt like a personal failure. But slowly, a transformation occurred. She realized that done and good was infinitely more powerful and profitable than perfect and pending. Her team, finally empowered, began to innovate. The business started to move at twice the speed. She had to trade the comfortable illusion of perfect control for the uncomfortable reality of actual progress. The world does not reward perfection. It rewards completion. The Daily Discomfort Challenge. Ship something imperfect every single day. This is about creating a bias toward action. Publish that draft blog post, even if you think it needs more work. Send that email you've been rewriting for 3 days. Have that difficult conversation, even if you don't know the perfect words to say. Go to the gym and try that new exercise, even if your form is clumsy. The goal is the attempt, not the flawless execution. The purpose is to prove to yourself that your worth is not tied to a perfect outcome, but to the courage to act. So, ask yourself this. What important project have you been endlessly polishing in the name of getting it right? And what is the absolute smallest, most imperfect version of it that you could release into the world, right now, today? You treat your negative emotions, anxiety, boredom, sadness, fear, like enemies to be vanquished. You believe the goal of a good life is to feel good all the time. Our entire modern world is built to sell you this dangerous lie. Feeling bored? Here are 1,000 channels of endless distraction. Feeling anxious? Here is a drink, a pill, a purchase to numb the sensation. Feeling sad? Drown it out with noise and activity. We have become masters of avoidance. We religiously avoid difficult conversations, grueling workouts, and mentally taxing projects precisely because they feel uncomfortable. This relentless pursuit of emotional comfort has not made us happy. It has made us fragile. When real adversity inevitably strikes, a job loss, a health crisis, a betrayal, we find ourselves with no strength, no resilience, no practice whatsoever in the art of enduring hardship. We have become emotional infants, and the world is not a nursery. This is the very heart of the Stoic operating system. They understood that the person who has not practiced enduring discomfort will be broken by it. The philosopher Seneca wrote powerfully about the premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. The Stoics didn't run from discomfort, they walked towards it in controlled, voluntary doses. They would practice poverty by living on simple food. They would practice enduring loss by contemplating the deaths of their loved ones. They would practice enduring social discomfort by intentionally dressing in rags. Why this morbid self-torture? To harden the mind, to inoculate themselves against misfortune. They were building their inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that could not be breached by the chaos of the external world. This is the power of voluntary hardship. It is the only known antidote to emotional fragility. For years, I had a debilitating fear of public speaking. The physical sensation of anxiety, the racing heart, the tight chest, was so overwhelming that my comfort-seeking brain screamed at me to avoid it at all costs. And I listened. I turned down promotions that would require presentations. I stayed quiet in meetings, even when I had valuable insights. I deliberately engineered my life to be small and safe, to never have to stand in front of a crowd. My world was shrinking, day by day. A mentor, a former military officer, gave me some brutal but transformative advice. He said, "Cassian, you think that fear is a stop sign. It is not. It is a compass. It is pointing you directly at the thing you must do. You will not overcome this by thinking about it. You will overcome it by walking into it, again and again, until it no longer has power over you." So I started. I forced myself to speak up in small meetings. Then I joined a local public speaking club, where my hands would shake as I gave 2-minute speeches. I volunteered to give the presentations no one else wanted. Every single time was deeply uncomfortable, but with each attempt, I survived. I was recalibrating my nervous system. I was teaching myself, on a cellular level, that the discomfort was just a signal. not a true threat. The iron mind is not a mind that feels no fear. It is a mind that acts in spite of it. This is your final and perhaps most important challenge, the Daily Discomfort Challenge. Once a day, deliberately choose a moment of discomfort over a moment of comfort. This is about microdosing voluntary hardship. Take a cold shower for the last 30 seconds instead of a purely hot one. When you feel the reflexive urge to pull out your phone out of boredom, just sit with the boredom for 5 minutes instead. Consciously choose the stairs over the elevator. The next time someone gives you feedback, resist the urge to be defensive and instead genuinely ask for more honest critique. Choose the hard path on purpose in one small way. And as you make that choice, ask yourself this: what discomfort are you actively avoiding in your life right now? And what is that avoidance truly costing you in terms of your strength, your growth, and your potential? Do you see the architecture of this prison now? Each of these 6 traps feeds the others. Your obsession with certainty keeps you locked in your routine. Your addiction to approval fuels your paralysis of perfectionism. Your habit of emotional comfort-seeking makes you compare your life to others, searching for a feeling of safety that doesn't exist. It is a self-reinforcing cage of your own making. But here is the critical shift in mindset. Here is where we reframe the entire mission. Real comfort is not a life without difficulty. That is a fantasy. Real comfort is the unshakable, internal confidence that you can handle any discomfort life throws at you. It is the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have forged a spirit that does not break under pressure. That is the only comfort worth pursuing. That is the freedom of the iron mind. Destroying your comfort zone is not about making your life harder, it's about making you harder to defeat. So I have a challenge for you right now. This is not for passive consumption. This is a call to action. Look back at the 6 traps: the routine prison, the approval addiction, the certainty obsession, the comparison trap, perfectionism paralysis, and emotional comfort seeking. Which one resonates most deeply with you? Which one feels like the primary architect of your cage? I want you to pick one. Just one. And for the next 7 days, I want you to commit to its corresponding daily discomfort challenge. Declare your choice in the comments below. There is power in public commitment. Write, I am destroying the routine prison, or I am destroying perfectionism. This is your first act of stepping outside of comfort. You will join a community of others who are also forging their own iron minds, and you can share your progress. If you are tired of platitudes and ready for practical blueprints to rebuild your mind, then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We are just getting started. Now, choose your enemy, choose your challenge, and begin.